Hey folks, here we are in some part of Arizona, near Phoenix, but not in Phoenix. There's a mountain, and there's a cactus, and there's a Nathan, and a Steven, and a Doug. It's Tuesday, and we talked to Clemson players and coaches and Ohio State players and coaches on our big interview day here. Then it's going to be Christmas. Then we're going to talk to everybody from both teams on Thursday. But Steven, Clemson specifically, what's the most interesting thing you learned about Clemson as we talk to those Tigers?
Yeah, when I asked them about some of the film they've looked at with Ohio State, specifically about Chase Young and things they saw that's worked and things that they've seen that haven't worked, they kind of, from the conclusion I got is they're only going to go one-on-one a lot of times. It's going to be Jackson Carman against Chase Young a lot of time because they seem to be more worried about the other guys instead of just Chase Young. Their idea is, yeah, we can put all this energy into Chase Young. Well, until let Tyreek Smith and Zach Harrison and Tyler Friday and Ja'Shawn Cornell and Davon Hamilton have their way with this team. And so they'd rather, allow Chase to have a one-on-one coverage and then just speed up the internal clock that Trevor Lawrence has than to put so much energy into Chase Young that they allow everybody else to roam free.
Yeah, that is wrong.
Yeah. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I'm also not getting paid millions of dollars to come up with a game plan. So
Yeah, that's either wrong or they're lying. Okay, that's crazy to me. What's your thing, Nathan?
So I spent some time talking to Travis Etienne and talking to some other guys around Clemson to find out more about him and what makes him what he is. And one of the things he is a real big play threat. You can go look at his numbers this year. He put up a lot of yards on not nearly as many carries as a lot of the other top running backs in the country got. A huge per carry average and a lot of big plays. So I went and asked John Simpson, one of his offensive linemen, why that is. And he said, because his feet go like this. And he was kind of doing Travis Etienne called it duck feet. I'm going to write more about this, but basically just that it's about being able to maintain your balance and your center of gravity, and that these long runs that he's breaking off are not just about his top end speed once he gets into the second level. It's what he's doing at the line of scrimmage, and Ohio State players have noticed that too. It's something that Tuff Borland and other guys were talking about, that it's more about guys like him, the defensive tackles, Baron Browning, Pete Werner, Malik Harrison, those guys doing their job at the beginning of the play that's going to decide whether Travis Etienne gets those long runs.
So I'm going to say two things real quick. One is that I think Ohio State is fortunate in some ways. I think Clemson is at an in-between spot on its defensive line. Brent Venables, the Clemson defensive coordinator, everybody knows all the NFL guys they lost off last year's team. He was talking about how they're not going to lose anybody off this current defensive line for next year. This is a young group that's going to all be back, and Ohio State is facing Clemson at a time. They have a reputation of producing some of these guys now, but they're at an in-between spot. They're playing a lot of young guys, and so I don't think this Clemson defensive line, and Brent Venables talked about how far they've come, it's not as good as it often is. And so I think as you're trying to evaluate what Ohio State can do against these guys, they're not going to be able to get the pressure that maybe last year's Clemson team or next year's Clemson team would be able to get. The second thing is, and again, Ohio State guys are reinforcing this, but Tony Elliott, the Clemson offensive coordinator we talked to, is just saying, Trevor Lawrence, he said, is faster than Deshaun Watson. That Chase Young, when it was what'd you learn about watching Trevor Lawrence on tape, the Clemson quarterback, a lot of it is about how athletic Trevor Lawrence is. If you don't realize that, Clemson was talking about how good he is making plays outside the pocket, and that is the game-changing thing. And everybody knows it. That's why dual-threat quarterbacks, everybody loves them. Justin Fields does it really well. Trevor Lawrence does that really, really well, too. So if you don't realize that, you have to understand that this is a big guy who can stand in there and throw, who can also get out and move and can create plays on the move. And if you, thought Deshaun Watson was really good 3 years ago against Ohio State, Trevor Lawrence does some things even better. All right, we're going to have another video. If you didn't want to hear about Clemson, we're going to talk about Ohio State the same way. So go watch that. Try the texts. Read our stories at cleveland.com/OSU. Follow us all week from Arizona. Fiesta Bowl, December 28th. See you then.